Important note: this is timeless and powerful wisdom that has influenced and improved the life of millions. Now that you have attracted it to your awareness, you must install it deep into your subconscious mind to experience a real change. Read the description below this video and choose the links among multiple options that will aid you in achieving the optimum results you seek. The journey to success is just one decision away. Thank you for listening and subscribing to Top Mindset Growth Channel.
You will never be rich until you do this one thing. And no, it's not what you think. It's not about working harder. It's not about having a better resume. It's not even about who you know or what opportunities you're handed. It is something deeper, something invisible, something so powerful that the wealthy protect it in silence and the poor ignore it in plain sight. The truth is this: you will never be rich until you command your mind to believe it is already done. You will never taste abundance until your inner world vibrates at the frequency of wealth. Because wealth is not something you chase, it's something you align with. The man who walks the earth broke but thinks rich is already rewriting the laws of his future. But the man who walks the earth with money yet fears losing it, say he is already poor in spirit. He is already on his way back down. It all begins where the world cannot see. Your thoughts, your emotions, your inner temperature for what you believe you deserve. That's the thermostat of your life. Until you change it, no external wind will change your climate. You'll self-sabotage every raise, burn every opportunity, fear every breakthrough. You'll find ways to collapse back into what feels familiar, not comfortable, familiar. Because the subconscious doesn't crave success, it craves consistency. And if poverty is what it knows, poverty is what it will recreate, no matter how many strategies you apply. This is why Andrew Carnegie said he could have made 100 millionaires with nothing but a belief system and a willing spirit. This is why Henry Ford, once called a fool for daring to mass-produce the automobile, declared, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." There are men digging ditches today who have more vision than CEOs and skyscrapers. There are single mothers waking up at 4 a.m., rewriting the blueprint of their bloodline because they finally understood the secret. It begins inside. It begins now. If you wait for the evidence of riches before you believe you're rich, you'll wait forever. Tesla saw energy where others saw air. Walt Disney saw castles on swamps. Joseph Murphy, author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, said the world within creates the world without. What you impress upon the subconscious must, by law, express itself. And yet here you are, thinking it's about the market, thinking it's about luck, thinking it's about approval from others. No, it is about mastery, mental mastery, emotional command, the kind of inner certainty that shatters time itself, that pulls the invisible into the visible, the imagined into the tangible. You will never be rich until you master this one truth. The mind is the workshop of divine riches or hellish poverty. You are the architect. You are the engineer. You are the builder. And the bricks? They are your thoughts. Stack them right, and you build an empire. Stack them wrong, and you collapse under the weight of your own disbelief. You want wealth? Then stop worshiping your circumstances. Stop bowing to your fears. Stop believing in the gospel of mediocrity that says you're just doing your best. Your best or your most familiar. Let me ask you something real, something uncomfortable. What part of you still enjoys being broke? What part of you still finds safety in struggle? Still finds identity in lack? Because if there's even 1% of you clinging to the badge of victimhood, the universe will honor it. It'll reinforce it. It'll wrap you in exactly what you believe you are, because it always does. That's not punishment. That's precision. This is why the truly wealthy, the ones who started with nothing, speak less about how they made their money and more about how they reprogrammed their mind. Because it wasn't the business model, it wasn't the bank loan, it wasn't the product or the market. It was them. They became the kind of person wealth couldn't ignore. They became magnetic. And you can too. But first you must look in the mirror and break the agreement you made with mediocrity. Tear up the contract you signed with self-doubt and choose. Choose who you will become, because until you make that decision, you are a slave, a prisoner of your past programming, a puppet whose strings are pulled by fear, scarcity, trauma, and doubt. And you'll call it normal. You'll call it being realistic. You'll hide your magic behind logic. But let me be clear. Logic will only take you as far as your current awareness. And your awareness is shaped by belief. If your beliefs are limited, your logic will be too. That's why visionaries are always seen as insane until they're seen as geniuses. The world will mock what it doesn't understand. It will scoff at the man who believes he is destined for riches while standing barefoot in the ashes of his past. But it is that man who dares to speak wealth before he sees it, who bends the laws of reality in his favor. Do you understand what you're sitting on? Do you understand that inside you is the exact same mind, the same energetic power that built empires that Ford had, you have, that Carnegie mastered, you can command, that Bell who heard voices through wires before it was possible? That same imagination is inside you. But you will never be rich until you do this one thing. Break the cycle of inner poverty. Because poverty is not just financial. It is spiritual. It is mental. It is emotional. It is the habit of settling, the art of justification, the addiction to just enough. You were not born for just enough. You were not sent here to survive. You were born to dominate your destiny, to sculpt your future from the raw clay of divine imagination. And yes, you were born to be rich, not only financially, but rich in vision, rich in purpose, rich in impact, rich in legacy, but only if you awaken. And awakening means you stop begging for permission. You stop explaining your dreams to people who are asleep. You stop waiting for evidence, and you start becoming the cause. You plant the seeds. You water them with faith. You protect them with discipline. And you don't wait for the fruit to believe the tree is real. You decide now. You become now. You speak now. Because the universe doesn't respond to need. It responds to command. And you will never command wealth until you realize that you are the force that draws it in. Not the market, not the news, not some lucky break. You. So what will you do? Will you go another day making excuses, or will you rise? Will you remain a servant to circumstance, or will you decide finally, fully, fiercely that this is your moment? This is not hype. This is not motivation. This is universal law. The world rearranges itself around the man who refuses to bow, the man who decides he will no longer live in the basement of his own potential. And you, my friend, you are that man, or you wouldn't be hearing this. Now prove it. You were taught to wait. Wait for proof. Wait for signs. Wait for someone to validate your dream. But the titans you admire, the ones whose names echo through history, they didn't wait. They declared. They didn't ask, can I? They asked, how far can I go before the world breaks trying to catch up to me? Thomas Edison didn't wait for darkness to ask for light. He bent the unseen forces of nature to create it. 10,000 failures didn't stop him, because in his mind it was already done. He had the idea, and the idea had him. And once that happens, once belief fuses with identity, you become unstoppable. But let's be honest, most people don't have ideas. Their ideas have them in chains. Ideas of limitation, ideas of scarcity, Ideas that sound like, I'm not ready. I don't have what it takes. I wasn't born into it. Stop right there. No one is born into wealth. They are born into possibility. What you do with that possibility is the difference between a life remembered and a life forgotten. Do you really think Carnegie had it easier? Do you think Ford had a head start? Do you think Lincoln, with less than a year of formal education, was supposed to become president? There was no path laid out for them. They carved it through will, through faith, through fire. And you want to be rich? Then you must become fire. You must burn away every excuse, every dependency, every lie you've told yourself to stay small. You must kill the part of you that settles, murder it, bury it, and resurrect the version of you that chooses destiny over comfort. Let this truth set your soul ablaze. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your government, not your boss, not even your mentor. They might give you tools, but the work, the real work, is yours. And until you own that, you will remain on the sidelines of your own life. You will dream while others enjoy their life. You will wish, while others wake up at 5 a.m. to demand from life, what they know is already theirs. And that one thing you must do, the one truth that separates the rich from the poor, the powerful from the passive, is this. You must decide that nothing outside of you is greater than what lives within you. Nothing. Not fear, not failure, not poverty, not statistics, not your childhood, not your debt, not your age, not your skin color, not your trauma. Nothing. Because the moment you crown something outside of you as greater, you have become a slave to it. But the moment you reclaim that throne within, when you make the soul's declaration, I am, and you mean it, you activate a force no man can measure. That's what Earl Nightingale called the strangest secret. You become what you think about most of the time. So what are you thinking about? Fear, doubt, lack? Then don't be surprised when your life becomes a mirror of it. Your outer world is your subconscious, projected in high definition. And the rich, the truly rich, don't chase wealth. They embody it. They see it when no one else can. Walt Disney walked through swampland and saw castles. Everyone laughed. But now the world pays billions to step inside his vision. What if you had the same courage? What if you dared to believe your imagination wasn't a joke? It was a blueprint. You keep looking at your bank account and asking, well, what can I afford? But the rich ask, what can I create? You're waiting to save up enough to start. They're starting so they never have to save again. This is the difference. This is the shift. And until you make it, you will live in the cycle of almost. Almost had it. Almost made it. Almost became something. But you weren't born for almost. You were born to break chains, to be the one in your bloodline who rewrites the ending. And yes, your family may not understand. Your friends may fall away. But what did you expect? You're no longer speaking the language of limitation. You're speaking abundance, vision, expansion. That is a different tongue. Let the world be confused. Let them call it ego, arrogance, fantasy. And while they talk, you build, brick by brick, thought by thought, identity first, results second. Because money is a reflection. Not a goal, not a finish line, but a reflection of how deeply you believe in your power. You still want to know the one thing? Here it is. You will never be rich until you believe you already are, not in the physical sense, not in numbers, but in spirit, in identity, in being. The beggar mentality must die. The I hope and maybe one day vocabulary must vanish. You must speak like it's done, walk like it's done, act like it's done. That's not delusion. That's faith. And faith is the currency of all creation. Before Abraham could be the father of nations, he had to walk with nothing but a promise. Before Moses could lead his people, he had to stand in front of a sea that had never parted before. Before any man could rise, He had to believe in a version of himself no one else could see. That's what you must do now. Believe in the man you are becoming before the world believes in you. Speak his words. Think his thoughts. Feel his emotions. Move in his rhythm. You do not become wealthy by accident. You become wealthy by decision. You do not become successful by chance. You become successful by transformation from the inside out. So, burn this into your mind. Nothing will change outside of you until you become someone new within you. There is a war happening inside you, a silent war. A battle between two voices, one that was planted in you long ago, whispering, "Stay small." And one that's been trying to scream louder every day, roaring, "You were born to rise." One is the voice of programming. The other is the voice of power. And until you silence the imposter, until you dethrone the tyrant in your mind that says you're not worthy, you will never be rich, not because you're not capable, but because you never gave yourself permission to become. Riches do not belong to those who tiptoe through life, avoiding failure. They belong to those who fail forward, who leap, who risk, who bleed for the vision the world called impossible. Ask me, I studied 500 of the most successful men of my time. They didn't say success came from luck. They said it came from a burning desire backed by definiteness of purpose. They said thoughts become things. They said belief, when fused with emotion, becomes an irresistible force. So what are you feeling? What emotions do you associate with money? Fear? Guilt? Shame? Then money will avoid you like a curse. You must rewire the emotional charge around abundance. You must feel peace around wealth, joy, expectation. You must fall in love with the idea of being rich, not for greed, but for growth, for contribution, for legacy. You think wanting money is bad? Then tell me, who suffers when the good remain broke, when visionaries can't fund their dreams, when good-hearted people can't escape the 9-to-5 grind to lead, when parents can't buy freedom of time for their children? That's not noble. That's tragic. Money in the hands of the conscious is a weapon for good. Money in the hands of the aware multiplies meaning. You want to feed nations, fund revolutions, build schools, uplift communities? Then stop fearing wealth. Start commanding it. Start training for it like a warrior sharpens his blade. Every day, in silence, in thought, in habit. You want to be rich? Then show me your mornings. Show me how you think before the world wakes up. Show me how you protect your energy before TV news and media pollutes it. Show me how you speak to yourself in the quiet hours of doubt. Because wealth doesn't start with a bank account. It starts with what you tell yourself when no one else is listening. Every affirmation you repeat, every visualization you practice, every moment you redirect fear into focused movement. That is the new you, being born. You think this is about money? No. It's about who you become in the pursuit of it. Because the man who earns millions without becoming disciplined, focused, intentional, and unwavering will lose it. The lottery proves it, athletes prove it, celebrities prove it. It is not what you get that matters, it's what you can keep, and you only keep what you are aligned with. So stop chasing money and start becoming the version of yourself that wealth cannot resist. Think, speak, walk, breathe, like the man who already has it, and you'll watch how fast the outer world bends to your new command. You are not waiting on wealth. Wealth is waiting on you to heal, waiting on you to decide, waiting on you to stop hiding behind stories, waiting on you to forgive the old self and step into the throne. And yes, it will cost you. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you approval. It will cost you the people who only loved the smaller version of you. Another year of wishing, another decade of watching from the sidelines, another lifetime of regret because you wouldn't let go of the version of you who just didn't want to rock the boat. No, rock the whole ocean. This life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This moment, right now, is your turning point. This second, yes, this second is the one where you either rise or stay, where you either rewrite the narrative or repeat it. You want to know the wealthiest secret the world will never teach you? It's not a stock pick. It's not a hustle hack. It's not buried in some elite circle of insiders. It's this. You become rich the moment you no longer need permission to be powerful. Not from them. Not from your past. Not even from the part of you that still doesn't believe. You give yourself the green light. You burn the boats. You cut off the escape plan. You say, this is who I am now. And the world will adjust. You want to build wealth? Then start talking like a leader. Start dressing like the man who respects his vision. Start walking with the posture of someone chosen for greatness. You may be tired. You may be broke. You may be doubted, betrayed, mocked, even left behind. But that is the price of alignment. And the reward? Freedom. Not just financial freedom, but mental freedom. Emotional freedom. The freedom of knowing that you are no longer trapped in someone else's idea of what's realistic. The freedom of standing on the mountain you built with your own hands and knowing you did it, you chose. You stepped forward when everything in you said, maybe later. You roared when the world whispered, be quiet. That's the real riches. The bank account? That's a receipt. The real wealth is who you become on the journey. And the world cannot take that from you. So remember this. You will never be rich until you do this one thing. Decide. Decide that the old version of you is done. Decide that you are enough now. Decide that it is already written. Decide to think like the rich, speak like the rich, walk like the rich, until wealth has no choice but to arrive. Decide to never go back. Now hear me. This is not a game. This is not just a motivational speech to make you feel good for a moment. This is war. A war for your soul, for your destiny, for your name in history. And make no mistake, the enemy is not out there. It's within. It's the whisper that tells you to hit snooze. The voice that says, what if you fail? The echo of every critic who doubted you, disguised now as your own thoughts. That voice is a liar. It has no vision. It has no faith. It has never built anything, only destroyed. And if you let it run your life, you will die full of potential and empty of legacy. But you don't have to let that happen, because in this moment, you are being given the rarest of all powers, the power to choose. And your choice will not be loud. It won't be announced with trumpets. No one will clap when you decide. No one will see the internal shift. But everything will change. Everything. Because the man who decides is no longer subject to the laws of the average. He rewrites them. He bends the rules. He redefines what's possible. The man who decides no longer needs to be motivated. He becomes the motivation. He doesn't hope to be rich. He embodies wealth so completely that the universe must respond. That man doesn't chase results. He lives in alignment, and results chase him. So I ask you now, will you decide? Will you finally declare war on the mental poverty that's kept you small? Will you silence the voice of fear and resurrect the voice of power? Will you look in the mirror today and say, not tomorrow, not next year, today I become the one I was born to be? You want freedom? Then stop negotiating with weakness. You want wealth? Then stop renting your identity from opinions that do not pay your bills. You want to live like the few? Then do what the few do. They get clear, they get convicted, they act. Not perfectly, not safely, but relentlessly. You think success comes from reading books, from listening to audios, from watching videos? That's not enough. Those are the sparks. But the fire is lit when you do something. When you take the first terrifying step. When you launch the product, record the message, write the book, make the phone call, start the investment, say no to the old life. When you plant your flag on new ground and say, I don't care what it costs, I'm not going back. Burn the boats. You don't need a plan B, you need boldness. The greatest regret is not failure, it's hesitation. The man who failed and tried again walks with his head high. The man who hesitated dies wondering what could have been. And now you are the one standing at the edge of that cliff, looking out at everything you said you wanted. All of it. Right there. And all that stands between you and that life is one leap, one decision, one irreversible, no looking back, scream it from your soul kind of choice. You will never be rich until you do this one thing. Decide that the old you is done. Kill him off, not gently, not with flowers, with fire. Let him burn. Let the victim go. Let the doubter die. Let the skeptic fall away, because in his ashes rises the real you, the one who sees clearly, the one who acts boldly, the one who walks into rooms and changes the atmosphere, the one who doesn't chase riches, but attracts them, because he has become the kind of man that life cannot say no to. You want to be rich, then become rich, in discipline, in hunger, in decision, in vision, in energy, in frequency. You must vibrate so high that poverty suffocates in your presence, because this isn't just about money anymore. This is about your mind, your power, your God-given authority to write the story of your life without apology. You don't need another plan. You don't need more time. You don't need anyone's approval. You need a decision. And if you make it, truly make it, everything will begin to move. People will feel it. Opportunities will align. Doors will open. And you will become a magnet for the wealth you used to only dream of. But none of it starts until you do this one thing. Decide, not someday, not when you're ready. Decide now. You must keep in mind the following. Repetition is the sculptor of your destiny. You will not become what you visualize once. You will become what you visualize consistently, daily, obsessively, until your brain starts adjusting your behaviors, your standards, your environment to match that inner self-image. That's not magic. That's biology. So listen this lesson again and again and again until it gets installed in your brain and in your subconscious mind, until you realize the results you seek.